right, here we go. So we've now got our enemy going, we got our player going. But now we need to do our environment and fix that up, and then we will be good to go. Okay, so let's first fix our player real quick, just because that's a little bit of a lower hanging fruit. Okay, I got down there, but all right, let's just. All right, so I'm just going to select this, either one of these. I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to go ahead and delete the stroke, and I'm going to select the fill, and we're just going to do the same thing as before, just zero that out. Okay, great, and we'll just go back out, and voila, that's fixed. Okay, so to do the background, this is what we're going to run to an issue, and if you play the game at all, you will see this. Currently, the way that we have it set up is, I hit F9 to open up you know how to open it up. Anyway, so currently the way that it's set up is that we have, where are you? Not there. Where's the background? Wall check. Well, I guess we have a couple spots, but you'll see like we have background.hitTest, and we do a wall check versus our front circle, and then we also have one for the bottom circle, right? And that's how we're testing it. But if you look, what we're testing is the background, okay? So both of them say background.hitTest. Here's the issue with that. If I click on this, the background is all of this stuff. So if you hit it just right, you can actually like land on this thing, because technically this is the start of the background, and you'll sit on top of it instead of like scoring, okay? And even with the enemies, it kind of can do the same thing as well, which is kind of weird. If you hit it like diagonally at just the right spot, because what it's doing is it's sampling the entire background, so all the elements that are inside of it, because this thing is called background. So what we want to do is we actually want to change that. We want to do background, and then inside of background have another section. So right now I have this platforms layer, which is what we have here. And it's reading that as well, but like I said, it's reading also points, enemies, and even fall depth, which is like way down here. Okay, so what I want to do is basically sort of fix that, and we're going to do that in a couple of ways. All right, so let's leave that one alone for right now. Actually, we'll go ahead and fix that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click off. We're going to click back on this. I'm going to go ahead and remove this because this isn't doing us any good. So we'll just get rid of that guy. Okay. So I'm going to click off and click back on platforms. And with this selected, we're going to go ahead and make it into a symbol. So I'm going to hit F8. And we'll call this, we'll just call it collision_MC. I should call it collider. We'll call it collision. Okay, so it's collision, and then on its instance name, because that's what we use in code, we'll call it BG collider. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. Control C, because I'm going to use that in a second. Okay, so that's now what I want to test against. Okay, so I'm going to hit F9 again to bring up my actions. Click on this one, and okay. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to change this. So where we have that, if we're testing with the ground check, right now it says background. We're going to do background, and then inside of background is .bg collider. So now it's not going to test the background. It's going to test the background, this BG collider, inside of background. Remember before I said that dot notation is like a folder? So basically we're going to test this object. It's inside of this object, and on this object we're going to run this method. Right? So, or the symbol, they call symbols in here. So but it's an object, okay? So we're going to do that, and we also need to add it also to test if we're hitting the wall. So I'm just going to go ahead and do dot and BG collider here, okay? Now, if we test this, it should run exactly the same, and you won't probably really notice it, but it will make it better, and you're going to see what we're going to do in a second that will make this quite a bit better. So yeah, that's great. So it's going to work exactly the same, but we're not going to run into the issues we were running into before. You might have played it and might have noticed it. So that's fine. That's all I really wanted to do with that. That's great. Okay. So I think that's it as far as we got to do with the code here. But here's what I want. So if you look, obviously our background is kind of not great looking. I don't really like it graphically. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a new background. So I'm going to double click on the background here. Now we're in background and we have this platforms. I'm going to rename this layer and we'll just call it collider, because that's what we're colliding with. And then over top of that, I'm going to make a new layer and we'll call this one platforms. Okay. Now on this layer, you can see it's empty. I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to draw a square. Okay, so we'll just grab the square tool, fill. I'm just going to go ahead and let's just do like a green and make sure my transparency is all the way up. It was down from when we did the stuff before. And the stroke, we'll just make sure it's black. Actually, stroke, let's do none. Let's do no stroke. Okay. Good. We'll go like that. I'm just going to hold shift as I draw this so that it stays proportionately like a square. Now, this kind of determines on how you... What we're doing is we're making tiles. So this kind of is dependent on how big you want your tiles to be. I'm just going to do this size, which is kind of large, but that way I don't have to make as many of them. All right. But if I want to do a higher res thing, that's what I would do here. Okay. So, goody. So we have this cube here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my line tool here. I got my stroke. That's good. I'm going to cut this across like so. And then I'm just going to kind of go like this. Okay. Control plus. I'm going to hit V for the select tool. And actually, let's delete these ones. Delete, delete. You dirty dog. Delete, 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 and delete. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is pull this guy down. I'm just going to grab every other one. You can just try to decide how you want to do this. Okay, go like that. And, okay, delete, 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 delete. Nope, not that guy. You get to stay. Delete, 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 delete. Alright, and now we're just going to go ahead. Actually, I didn't need to delete those yet. We could have just... Okay, so now I'm going to select this fill. The bottom fill. I'm going to click on this, and I'm just going to make a brown color. That was brown. Alright, so you can see there's the brown. I'm going to double click on this guy and just delete that. And you can see, yay, we got a thing there. So, now from there, you know, you could kind of go a little bit farther with it. So I could grab the top part here, and then I'm just going to hit I for the eyedropper, click on that. I got my fill, and I'm just going to go ahead and go to this, and we'll just do a lighter color, and I could click on that guy, and then V, double click on that, delete it, right? So it's a little bit, whatever. I could take, probably should have done this before, but I could do my ink bottle and click on this, right? Yeah, come on, give me that. There we go. Double click on this line, shift that, hold shift and down arrow. Probably one's good enough. And then I'm just going to hit I for the eyedropper to sample this color, this brown color. And I've got my fill, and it still is trying to... Okay. I'm going to go to my fill here, and I'm just going to go to this, and we'll just do a darker color. And fill that in there. I'm going to get rid of this. Delete. Now it looks like a shadow that's underneath it. Ooh, fancy. And then, you know, we could take this and just do like, I don't know, gray and make no stroke. And you could just draw, you know, little rocks and things. Imagine I did a good job. Okay. And you could go farther with it. But we'll just say that that's the graphic, right? You can do whatever you want. I'm just making a generic one. We're going to call that good. All right. So you can play around with it, do what you want. But you do want it to stay, it has to be straight. It has to be square. Just because, it doesn't have to be square per se, but it has to be linear. I guess the top technically could not be, but I would make it straight because it'll be easier to walk across. So I would keep that. I'd keep it all straight, but what's inside the cube, you can do whatever you want. All right, so with that made, what I'm going to do is click and drag over the whole thing, and I'm just going to make that into a symbol. So I'll hit F8 and to convert to symbol, and we will just call this like grass platform _MC. Okay. Yay, so now that's a symbol. And what I'm going to do is on the platforms here, I'm just going to go ahead and put this guy, put it right basically in line with the ground there, right? You can probably tell what I'm going to do already. And all I'm going to do is take this and I'll hold Alt and Shift, and I'm just going to bring it over here until it snaps to that, and then Alt and Shift. And it looks like I must have been a little bit off. Maybe not. Let me see. Looks like I'm off. Oh, maybe I'm not. Look like, I don't know. Okay, so click on this one, Alt Shift, until it snaps. Just make sure you got View snapping, and you probably want the Snap Align on, just so that it does snap. Alt Shift, and Alt and Shift. Okay, and Alt and Shift. Okay. And then Control minus, and then you do the platform up there. So I'm just going to grab these here, and I'm going to hold Alt and just drag them up here. We'll call that good. And I will grab, I don't know, a bunch of these, and I'm just going to hold Alt and Shift so it stays in line, and I'll put it here. Okay. And yeah, so you can see the platforms. Now these are just a visual thing. They're not actually the thing we're going to be colliding with. We're going to be colliding with is what's on this collider layer. Okay. So what I would do now, just to get the idea. So what I would do is I would just lay out all these that I want. So let's say I want to put another platform up here, right? So I'm going to stay with my platforms here, and let's say I just want to Alt, and let's just see if there. Oh no, I want to line up. There we go. Let's just say I want to do. Oh, that's weird. It's like going up and over. Oh no! Don't do that to me. Okay. Let's see. I had you. There we go. Let's say I want to do another platform here. Okay, so let's just imagine I'm building up my thing, or let's do this actually. We'll do this. I'm gonna say we're gonna do like steps. Oops. Come on. This is gonna actually make it really hard, but just so you get the idea. Okay. So let's say I want to do something like that. Now obviously I didn't already make that with my collider. Holding Alt. Come on. I'm holding space. There we go. So then what I would do is I'd go to my collider layer here, right? And I'm gonna double click on it. And then it's basically all I have is this drawing of this thing. I'm just going to delete it. And I'm just going to redraw it out just because it'll be easier. And I'll make the stroke pretty big. So I'll do like, we'll say 42 is fine. Oops. Okay. And I'm just going to draw out the lines of where I need them. So I'm going to click here. I'm just going to hold Shift so that it's straight. And we'll go like that, right? And then I'll draw one up here. Good. And then I'll draw one here. Good. And then we'll just draw one here. And then you can see it's right butted up against, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw one like up to here, and then here to here, and then here to here, and then here to here. Okay. And I just need to take this one, I'm going to hit V and just make sure it lines up. You just want to make sure it lines up with the actual thing, okay? Now, what we need to do when you're all done and you've made your map, it's best to click on the layer and have them all selected, and just make sure you're on object, not frame. And I'm just going to take the stroke color and just make it 100% 0. So when you don't select it, you don't see it. Same thing as like what we did before. And then we click on background. All you're going to see are these platformers, but that's not actually what we're colliding with. What we're colliding with is that other collider object that we made on the collider symbol that we made on colliders. And what's cool is that, like, you know how like you play Mario and stuff, and like some of the walls you can go through. This allows us that if we wanted to make something that you could like, that's like a hidden thing, you could have a hidden area or something that like has some sort of power up or something, right? It makes sense. So we will call it good. So let's hit Control Enter, and it should work fine, hopefully. See, I'm getting little lines in between. And yeah, so now we can just play our game. And oh, yeah, they got me. Oh, I should probably make that invisible too, but what? I killed you. There you go. And then we won! I'm so good at this game. So good at this. Bad at this game. Okay, so you can see basically we have the graphics there. And what's nice too, because of the way that we built the system, is that for some reason, I mean, I'd make other platforms, because obviously usually there's a variety of them, but for some reason I'm like, oh, you know what, I really wish this platform, I really wish that brown, or, this brown was darker. I can select it here, and you could go ahead and go like, let's make it red, and then, or black apparently, and then they'll be black for all of them, because they're all sourcing from the same grass platform. So there's a nicety there, because what you do to one will do to all, because they're all instances of that same thing. Let's see, and then that's it. So I would suggest, you can play around with it. You can make more of these if you want. You'd have to add more of the code of the coins, or move the coins up in different places. You could also make more enemies, but again, you have to copy and paste that code. There are ways of making it not happen, but it's a lot more complicated. So yeah, that's basically it. So when we're done with this, the game is kind of done. And what we can do is next week, I want you to start thinking maybe about kind of a subject of a game. Think about games that you play on your phone. So I have a bunch of tutorials already made. So I have like the one where like you move side to side, like an endless runner kind of. That's the one where it's like the things are going by you. That one's kind of hard to make, to be honest, but I have one that's like Galaga, where the things are coming down, you got to shoot them. I don't know. I have a bunch of them. I'll show you in the next week there. But think about what you want to do, like a subject matter or something. A lot of you guys have kind of kept a similar theme all the way through, so I kind of do the same thing, as you can probably tell. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, just get this done, and then when this is done, just save it. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this, and submit that into this week's lab. And then we only have one more project left, and actually it's this one. So this is the last project, so you're going to make a game. That'll be the last thing. We're going to do that and one more lab, and that's it. So we're on the home stretch. I know this is a lot of work, but you guys are doing really well with it, so keep it up.